Hello, true believers. This is Babbitt's Only, and we are going to do another reaction video follow up to the Philippine National Police, PDEA, Philippine Drug Enforcement Agency misencounter incident. And there is there is really not much development going on. I wanted to follow up before because in 2 weeks people are going to forget about what happened. Yes, 4 or 5 people died. I can't really confirm how many actually, but I know at least four and possibly a fifth person died. And I know for sure that one of the people that died is their asset or informant. So let me say a few things about when it comes to informants slash assets. What happens is the police, what they'll do is they'll catch someone selling drugs, and then in return, they make some kind of arrangement with them. Trying to find the right word here. They're gonna make an arrangement with them. It's like, okay, you work for us now, and in exchange, we'll let you. I mean, there might be anything, the possibility from they're not gonna go to jail or they're gonna let them live. So if you're looking at the option of either working for the police or going to jail or being killed, then all of a sudden working for the police sounds like a great option, which in return you become an informant or an asset. And what are those things? What are your duties or responsibilities, or what do they ask you to do? One of the things they'll ask you to do is then go up the supply chain and ask you, okay, well, where do you get your drugs from? And then what they'll do is they'll probably give up somebody, and then they'll go after that person, and then they'll ask that person, where do you get their drugs from? And what happens to the drugs during these buy, sell, and then they're supposed to keep going up? And what the ninja cops or the politicians or even Duterte says is the police resell them. And who resells it for them? Well, the same assets that they do. The same assets. So what they do is they recycle them. That's why there's a lot of big hullabaloo about destroying these drugs, because these drugs aren't destroyed. They're stored and then they're recycled and resold and then recycled and resold again by the police. Over here, I guess you can say one of the misencounters is that eventually if you recycle and resell and do this over and over again, you'll eventually run into other people that recycle and resell them. So maybe what we have here is where the PNP and the PDEA are doing. I mean, those are the things that happen to the drugs. I'm not saying that they happen in this situation, disclaimer. I'm just saying these are the things that occur because they don't dispose of them, they don't destroy them, the drugs just circulate. And yeah, and the reason is why. Money. Always go back to money. I mean, over here, this is the Philippines. You have to understand the culture of the Philippines when it comes to money. Nothing is more important than money over here. Life, trust, there's no loyalty. Money is more important than loyalty. Trust is more important than loyalty. Lives are more important than, money is more important than lives. Money is more important than work. Money is more important than career. Money, money, money. It's just that's just the culture. And then when you've got drugs, which is a lot of money, then you've got police corruption. And a lot of money, a lot of corruption, a lot of police corruption. And I'm not here to say, is it wrong? That's just the reality. I've always said there's no right or wrong. It's just the reality and the consequences of our actions. Now over here, the problem is when if you put yourself in the position of a police asset, you become, you're in a no choice situation, a no win situation. Once you're dealing with the police, just like with my complainants, once you're in that situation, you have no choice. So you just have to do what they say, and then now you're become What are the goods in there? We get to number one, you get to live and you get to breathe another day, and number two, you stay out of prison. Now, if you ask anybody who's been in prison over here, death is way better than being in prison. At least in death, you're resting now, you're in peace, versus prison is just a slow, grinding, suffering, miserable torture every day. So, which one would you rather have? And there's just some things worse than death, and that's just meaningless suffering. So, what we have over here now is a situation where we have an asset, and then we're gonna go through the video. But before I go through the video, I wanted to explain what I saw and why it's important for people to see for themselves or realize or recognize the reality that actually occurs over here. What you're going to be seeing is an actual extrajudicial killing, which is very popular over here. In America or in the West, they might talk about police corruption, police brutality, police abuse. Over here, we call it Tuesday. And extrajudicial killings, by the police, by these death squads with no due process, is a daily occurrence, and even to their own kind, even to the other police, as you could see. So there's really no limit to where these extrajudicial killings will go. And what you'll see is a combination of both over here, where you have an extrajudicial killing of an asset or an informant, as well as the police that are around them, both from the Philippine National Police. And here we have over here is actual video. One of the local news outlets actually got a hold of this video from the fast food restaurant. I assume McDonald's. They never really said which fast food restaurant it is, but it's pretty common knowledge or public knowledge that it's McDonald's, at a McDonald's parking lot. So I assume this is CCTV footage from the McDonald's restaurant. And what you could see over here, and I'll explain, is, so apparently this is what I'm hearing from the story that I hear online, is they're supposed to meet this buy bust, sell bust, sell bust. I mean, both of them are claiming that they're both buying, not selling, but of course somebody's lying. One of them's lying, because one of them has to be buying, one of them has to be selling. And you could probably see in their cell phone interactions, and then nobody goes into this situation unless it's clear. You don't go into the operation unless it's clear. What are you doing? What are you buying? What are you selling? And that gets all documented. Will it ever come up? I don't know, because there's going to be a lot of face. People are going to lose a lot of face. And when it comes to these things, it goes up pretty much up the chain of command. Like I said, there's no secrets here in the field. Two people can't keep a secret over here. Two people can keep a secret over here if one person is dead. And there's a lot of people involved, then it pretty much goes up in the high chain of command, and they know about it. And because they get benefit from it. What is that benefit? Money. Like I said, it all comes down to money. This is for them. This is their way of life. This is their living. And part of living, when you're police and when you have guns and you have to use it, what do you do with the guns? You kill people with it in exchange for money. Like I said, whether it's right or wrong, it's not really up to you and me to decide. This is the culture over here in the Philippines. So what you're going to see here in not in black and white, but in actual video, the video just records what actually happened. So they were supposed to meet somewhere, and but the car of where the informant or the asset was in, and they have the drivers, the PDEA drivers included in the car, and that are protecting the asset, or in the car also, but the car overheated. And so people are saying, oh, if the car never overheated, this never would ever happened. Well, somehow fate intervened that the car overheated, and then it needed to be here at a public place at McDonald's. I'm sure they didn't want this altercation or this meeting or this transaction to be in front of a bunch of other publicly in front of a busy fast food restaurant like McDonald's. But the car overheated, as you could see, and then they parked it, and they were I don't know whether they were repairing it or waiting for it to cool down. And so they were just standing around the car in a busy intersection, in a busy parking lot. And that's when the police arrived. So from what I'm watching, that's when the PNP arrived at this car where the asset was. And we'll go through the video. And if you look, the police came in and they weren't shooting yet. So the question is going to probably be asked: who started shooting first, the PNP or the PDEA? Padea, and it's hard to say, but I could probably pretty much say the PNP started shooting first because they shot the asset first. You could see that they clearly were intended to look for the asset, and they wanted to rub out or erase the asset to make sure that it's never going to talk again. Maybe this asset has information, dangerous information of selling or buying or doing something criminal for the police, because for the sake of money, because for the sake of corruption. Police corruption here in the Philippines, it's so common, it's so rampant, that's definitely a possibility based on their actions, that they were clearly targeting the informant or the asset that's in the vehicle. Then after that, so I can pretty much, from my opinion, from what I saw from the CCTV footage, it was the Philippine National Police that initiated the shootout by targeting their informant, the asset of the PDEA, and then shooting that asset dead, murdered in cold blood, with extrajudicial killing, no due process whatsoever, whether this asset was really an asset, what they're guilty of. There's no judge, there's no defense, there's no prosecution. Just the end of a gun barrel is, and that's kind of what you have to accept when you become a police asset. Everybody knows it, is that your days are numbered. Once you accept it, you're just delaying. So you have to kind of choose which you want to. There's really not much choice, but your decisions of becoming a police asset, it's like you're already accepted that you're gonna die. You're just delaying your death. So most to 99% people will tell you who's involved in this industry, once you become a police asset, you'll have too much information that are damning when it comes to the police, especially when it comes to corruption, and that you're eventually have to be rubbed out by them to make sure that dead men tell no tales. And this police informant or this asset is definitely going to tell, not going to tell any more tales after you see in actual video how this asset died. This is how typical how assets died. They die at the end of the gun barrel of their handlers. So in this situation, you could see clearly what happened. So then that's when the PDEA started firing back after the police targeted the informant, the asset, and then that's when you get this big shootout. I don't think it's, as you can see, there's no buy bust, there's no buy sell, there's no transaction, there's no money, there's no drugs, whether it's like a double cross or anything like that. It's just the police walking up, killing the asset, and then they probably, or I don't know, that they didn't know that there were other police standing by, or the PDEA standing by to start shooting. Usually, I'm sure they're used to they just walk up, shoot the asset, put a sign around them saying that I'm a drug lord, I'm a drug dealer, and just walk away. They probably didn't know that there was going to be, that this asset or this informant is going to have PDEA protection around them, and then they started shooting back, and then that's when it all started. That's what I think, in my opinion. I could be wrong, but I'm just doing it based on public knowledge, what I know from firsthand knowledge and from experience, and what is commonly known here when it comes to culture and police corruption. Like I said, when you get people that are just living for the now, this is how they live by. They live by the gun and die by the gun. You don't really think about the consequences of your actions a year from now or a day from now, when you could be dead any day or any time. And that's what we have over here. We have 4 or 5 people possibly that don't live anymore, because and that's how they were living, as they could die anytime. So let's look at the video now to support what my statement about the police. There was no buy bust. It was just the Philippine National Police targeting the police asset, the Padea's asset or information, because informant, because he has information that might be damning. Because why else would they target that person? I mean, they could have shot everybody, but they only shot that one person. And this is the process, or this is the procedure of how they actually will do an extrajudicial killing. So let's go ahead and take a look. So you'll see in the video over here that the car overheated, and then we'll go to the actual, so they're gonna park it. So let me just kind of describe, and what I'll do is kind of pause in between. So they're just opening up the hood, minding their own business. And here's another van. I think the van has like Padea people in it. So they're just gonna park also around the area. And then all of a sudden, here it is. So this is it. So because you can see the driver, they've got the water, the car is overheating. Then all of a sudden, a person in a black shirt just walks up to the car. You see that? And he just pulls his gun out of his pants. Just kind of like in the gangster movies, like no uniform, no badge, just a person walking up and has his gun. I don't know whether he identify himself, but usually in these kind of situations, I think the proper operating procedure is once you start pulling out your gun, is you should also have your badge out at the same time. But in this situation, as you can see, he just pulls out a gun, and here's where the series of events start. So let's kind of pause. So as you can see, the Philippine National Police is there's this one guy in the black shirt and this one lady with the bag. Okay, so he goes to the driver. There's no shooting. He just has him at gunpoint and starts searching him for weapons. Then what you'll see next is some activity on the passenger side. People on the passenger side, of course, are getting wily and getting squirrely. There's several people in the car. There's at least two other people in the car. You got the driver over here outside. You got one informant asset here on the passenger front passenger side, and you've got another Padea inside. So let's take a look at what happens. So now there's some motion going on the other side. And all of a sudden, as you can see, they start moving because there's movement on the front passenger side. So this is where they go, oh, okay, here's the informant. The informant is on the move. Okay, and this is where the extrajudicial killing happens next. So they all storm, and then here comes the Padea. Okay, whether he started shooting first, it's not clear because all the action is starting on the other side. And at this point, the informant was shot. So it's hard to say if this Padea was, but it's kind of all simultaneously happening at the same time. I'm sure when he heard the shot, I could probably make the argument that as soon as he heard the shot, the informant was shot. This is where the informant was shot already. They shot him. They didn't arrest him. There was no. I'm sure he didn't have a gun, but he's dead. He's been shot. So they shot an unarmed man over here. I could. They're not going to say, "Oh, we shot him because he was armed." If anything, they should have shot this driver first. If they were targeting everybody, if they were just targeting just anyone, then they would have targeted the driver first. If they were just random when it comes to who they're shooting. But this one, it's obviously deliberate that they were going after the informant because the informant is dead. So then this is where the shootout, as you can see, there's like a shootout now. And then from over here on the other side of the car, somebody's head goes down. And it's hard to say if that's one of the police, because I know two of the police died in this incident and one Padea died. I don't know if it's this person, but it was somebody with red shorts. And then here it is. And this person over here, the guy in the black shirt, I assume is dead because somebody inside the car shot him. So there you could see this puff right here. Somebody inside the car shot this guy in the Padilla inside the car shot this guy through the window or through the back glass and shot this Philippine National Police PNP. And what's funny is they're trying to shoot around this guy. I don't know what this guy is doing. I don't know if he's a driver. I don't know if he's an asset. I don't know if he's Padilla, but he didn't have a gun. So that's kind of the weird thing about this. Who is this person? Because here they are, they're trying to shoot around him instead of shooting through him. They shot around him. We got one guy over here that's face down. I don't know if that's PNP or if the informant, but the informant is dead. And two PNP is dead. He could be PNP, and this is the other PNP that's dead. And then this guy I don't know if he's dead or not because he was able to run away. But there was another guy with red shorts. But this guy is the luckiest guy ever because the bullets went around him as they were shooting, as this guy in the black shirt were shooting each other. Maybe this guy's life was saved by that guy inside that shot this guy, so there was no more crossfire. And then other people from other places started shooting. So, and then he takes off because forget this, I don't want to be in the middle of the crossfire anymore. And that guy gets back inside, and the driver gets back in the car. Weirdest thing. So that's where the two police got shot and the informant got shot. But I don't see where the Padilla got shot. So here we go again. They're just replaying what happened, the incident. They're putting water inside, and see, this is where the police walk up again to the driver and didn't shoot him because he's not the informant or the asset.
Lumapit ang ilang lalaki at biglang pinarilang asset ng Pidea na tumumba sa gilid ng kanyang sasakyan.
Yeah, they said that from the video, they're saying that this is when they killed the asset. You see the police rushing towards the passenger side, the front passenger side, 3 of the police, and he's dead. So the police asset is dead, and then now that's where the Padilla react to the PNP shooting. So this is where I kind of go, well, who's in the right, who's in the wrong in here, who started it? Obviously, the Philippine National Police came in and shot the guy. So what do you expect the Padilla to do? You know, they drew their gun and they murdered one of their informants and their assets, and they're not even done with them yet. How disrespectful is that? You can't be shooting our informant or our asset while we're in the middle of a transaction over here. So regardless of what information he has on the police themselves. So the Padilla reacting to their informant getting shot, and this is where the exchange happens. So we got one person over here that's down on the ground. I don't know if that's the informant or the police, but he's wearing a red shirt. So he could be one of the red shirt. He could be, I saw, if you look over here, following this lady in the white shirt, this PNP there, there's the guy in a red shirt. So it could be him, but I'm trying to figure out who shot him and where did that lady go, because the camera, you know, how did the lady survive? She's down on the ground. Oh, there. What the? So there it is. So that there it is where he shot him. It's weird. Did he shoot? Who did he shoot? It looks like there's somebody on the ground. So there's obviously the guy that came out of here is down on the ground also. Now, if you look at him, the person that came out is down here behind the car somewhere. And he, if you look, this guy just shot him. So if you look, I don't know if that'll come out clear. There. if you look at this picture over here, if you look at this video, there's his gun pointing at the ground. So I don't know if this guy is the asset or the police, but there's another guy on the ground with him, and he's on the ground also. But obviously he's pointing a gun down here somewhere, shooting something. And I don't know if it's him or not. It's like I said, it's not clear because this could be the police, or I don't know what the guy inside was wearing also. It's not clear.
Dito na bumaba ang iba
So now that he shot him, he's starting to shoot this guy now, and then this guy. So this all happened quickly, instantly. When there's guns shooting, it's kind of it's you don't know how you're gonna react to that. You might be shocked like this guy is going. This is this really happening? You know, when bullets are whizzing right by you and people are shooting, and you got guns and you got people dying. You know
pang
this.
PDEA agents na gumanti ng putok at napatay ang dalawang armadong lalaki
So this guy is shooting at something here. And then this guy is trying to shoot him, but this guy was in the middle.
na
The weirdest
tinamaan ng
thing.
alamang mga
And then he got
tauhan ng
shot by
CCTV
someone
Ground
inside.
Enforcement Unit.
And then you got this guy down. You got this guy down on the ground.
Base sa salaysay ng isang saksi, ilang
So
minuto
more
lang
people start
natigil ang
shooting.
putukan.
So people rushed in. See the guy who got out of the seat. If you watch, let's watch how. If you watch how what happened to the guy that got out of the seat. Okay, he got out. See, there's two heads right here. Okay, there's the guy, the shooter, and then there's the guy that just came out. And then he hit the ground. There. So the guy came out, he hit the ground, and he started pointing at him and started shooting him. There. Done. You saw right there. Cold-blooded murder. The guy came out, brought him out of the car, he was coming out of the car, and these guys and the police came up to him as he was intercepted him as he was getting out of the car. He got shot, hit the ground. This guy kept shooting continuously at him, make sure he's dead. So here we go. You witnessed right here a cold-blooded murder by the police over here. Just walked up, came around, shot the informant, and then he got shot himself. Because I think if they knew that this was other police, then normally this wouldn't be the PDEA. They probably didn't know. If they did, they wouldn't be doing this. But let's assume they didn't know, because it would be quite ridiculous to be hitting the informant while all this PDEA with guns and weapons around in a public place. But anyway, the reason why it was in a public place is because the car overheated. But I don't think they knew that the other PDEA was around. When usually they're the only. Usually when they do this type of extrajudicial killing, they're usually the only ones with the guns, and they have their numbers when they do this. But at this time, the other people that were with the informant or asset had guns of their own, and they're police themselves. So that's when the shootout occurred. So people are shooting. He's shooting. This person right here in the red hat started shooting at something. There's someone there. He started shooting at, and this guy started aiming for him. So you got these two guys right here, and then this guy in the middle. It's gotta be. I don't know if he's alive or dead, or maybe sometimes people get shot and they don't act like they get shot. They're kind of in shock. So I don't know if he's actually alive or he got some bullets, or there's no, but he's one lucky guy if he survived this, because they were both. I can understand why this guy in front is trying to shoot around him, because he's his co-worker, but this guy, I'm not sure why he's trying to shoot around him, because maybe he's trying to not shoot somebody that's not the informant and they don't know who he is or not. To shoot somebody that's shooting an informant is one thing, but shooting somebody that they don't know for the sake of shooting through them, probably is the reason why he probably didn't know him. So there you go. He was shot through the window. And then that's where most of the excitement or the initial people that died, and this guy takes off. And this guy gets back in the car. So here we go again, a replay in regular time. So there's shooting. This guy's trying to shoot. Why didn't he shoot? Why didn't he shoot him? He was aiming the gun at him, and then and so another guy gets out of the car.
video ng isa sa mga testigo.
So now this person, sometimes I'm wondering, is this person actually Philippine National, if this is PDEA or Philippine National Police? Now that I'm studying it, I don't know if this is PDEA also, because they could all be Philippine National Police, because this person didn't shoot him. He was aiming at him, but he didn't shoot him. So they might be the same police, because okay, probably he's police also, because he got shot, and then now he's worried. So there's a guy that there we go. Once this door opens, as you can see, this door opens. So I think this is Philippine National Police also. So I take that back. I might be wrong. This is PDEA. I'm just guessing based on how big. Once this door opens, so this guy in here shoots this guy, and once this is open, he starts running. So once this guy gets out, so this guy is like the bodyguard hero buster. He shoots this guy and opens the door to get out and scares away this guy. Instead of staying inside to get shot, he gets out and confronts this guy, and he takes off. It's like, why is he taking off? So I get it now. So this is the police. I get it.
Cellphone video ng isa sa mga testigo na nasa loob ng fast food chain ang mga PDEA agents na paikot-ikot.
That's my guess. So let's take a look at it again. So one more time. I mean, I could be wrong. So say in the comments what you actually think happened. Who is that guy with? This guy I know that's certainly Philippine National Police. This lady is, because they came together. And this guy is definitely Philippine National Police. Now, this person is kind of a question mark, because they didn't shoot him. The guy had the chance to shoot him and didn't shoot him. So this guy was like hesitating. It's like, why didn't you shoot him? Well, because he's... See, he was looking around. So I assume this guy is Philippine National Police also. Instead of keeping his eyes and his guns trained on him, he looked around before he got shot through the window. Okay, I get it now. So now as soon as this guy gets out, he runs away. Got it. So this has the Philippine National Police written all over it as initiating the shooting, because they shot the informant. This guy over here shot him. And look, this guy was even staring at him, didn't shoot him, even though he's like shooting with guns blazing. Nope. So he's one of my guys. So he looks around instead, takes his gun, stops aiming at him. He gets shot from inside the car, and the person that's inside the car gets out and tells his guys to, scared, tells the guy to get the F out then, because I'm going to be shooting. I've got a gun also, and I'm going to shoot back. And then that's all she wrote after that. So there you go, an extrajudicial killing by the police of an informant. Like whether it's right or wrong, whether you could make the argument that that guy deserved it because he's a drug addict, a drug dealer, and the world is a better place for having
Ang hindi ng
person.
PIDEA.
It's not one way or it's not for us to say. This is what actually happened. This is what you need to know because knowing is half the battle. And this is the reality. The last thing you need to do is come here to the Philippines and expect that everything's going to be hunky dory. But the most people, the most dangerous people, as you could see over here, are the police. And I have first hand experience, first hand knowledge of this because there's situations where I thought the same thing was going to happen to me. So fortunately, it didn't happen, and I'm taking the steps, and you should take the proper steps also and the proper precautions to make sure it doesn't happen to you. Obviously, the you can just not visit the Philippines and not have to deal with this kind of behavior or this kind of mentality or this kind of culture. But some people can't do that. They have to come over here. And if you do, just keep this in mind. And if you're no, then you're one step ahead of ending up like this. And me myself, I'm gonna make sure that I don't end up like this also, but making sure that I take the proper steps and the proper precautions. And I survived. I survived. So I'm down to one of my, well, my 9 lives are gone. I don't know how many lives I got, but definitely this incident with my own personal incident with the police has used up one of my 9 lives. Anyway, this is Bellwoods only. And like I said, now you know what happened here. Here's the CCTV before everybody forgets. So, what actually happened, the police went ahead and murdered the informant and the asset. And this is the reality over here. So, just make sure that you know this, that you take the proper precautions and stay away from this kind of situation as much as possible. And once you know, then you know how to avoid situations like this. And like I said, knowing is half the battle. Questions, comments, give it a like. This is Bebot only. Thanks for watching.